So Danny, जैसे तूने लास्ट वीडियो में बोला था, I thought about it. I will start building my capital धीरे धीरे. But what if I run into a poor financial plan? How will I go about it?
Chill, don't worry, that won't happen. I have another video for you.
Oh wow.
So back to our framework here. Where do we invest? We invest in the capital employed. So we invest in fixed assets and operating working capital. That's what we need to run our operations. And hopefully, running the operations, we're able to generate a profit from the operations. That's what we will call the operating profit or the operating income or the EBIT. We will use it to reward first the banks to whom we owe some interest expenses because we had previously borrowed money from them. Second, we will have to pay taxes to the government on our profits. And third, if anything is left, it belongs to shareholders. Shareholders will be free to decide either to take a dividend out of the company if they want to have a liquid reward on their investment, liquid meaning in cash, or they may also decide to leave the remaining profit inside the business. In that case, this profit will become a retained earning and will be available to grow the business. That is, to grow the capital employed, buy more machines, grow the credit to customers, grow the work in progress inventory if we want to do more business, and so on and so forth, so as to generate more sales and more profit next year. So this framework, I think, describes pretty comprehensively how a business works. And we can use it in order to build some ratios to analyze the performance of the company. Who's going to be interested in building ratios? Well, first, the shareholders, I think. The shareholders are going to ask, hey, how much profit was generated for us? This is measured at step 3 on the graph here. And they're likely to compare this to the amount of money that belongs to them in the company. Shareholders' money here is at the top. That's what we call owner's equity in the balance sheet. So shareholders will be interested in that type of ratio, looking at the net income vis-à-vis the owner's equity. But before going to shareholders' performance, what I want to highlight on this graph is that, look, the performance that is delivered to the shareholders in the end is first rooted in the operations. How will the shareholders manage to have a very good net income at step 3 on the graph? Well, only if operations perform well and are able to generate a very good operating income. So the performance delivered to the shareholders is really rooted in the performance delivered by the operations. And therefore, before jumping to shareholders' point of view, it's important to measure and understand the performance delivered by the operations. Typically, look at the profit. So look at the profit from operations. Ask ourselves, how much profit did the operations generate out of $1 of sales? That will be the operating margin. We'll come back to it in a minute. But it's not enough to look at that. It's not enough to be satisfied with a certain level of profit made. If I show you an income statement and I tell you I generated an operating income of $3,600, okay, you will say, cool. But you may immediately raise a second question. $3,600 of profit, that's great. But what are the resources you employed to generate that profit? You're going to tell me, did you utilize $10,000 of resources or $100,000 or $1 million? Come on, if you utilized $1 million of resources to generate only $3,600 of profit, that's a very poor performance. So you want to see what were the resources involved in generating the profit from the operations. What is the profit from operations vis-à-vis the resources employed to run the operations? And we're going, therefore, to look at what we call the return on the capital employed. More to come in the next video.
Oh, सब ratio का खेल है. So I should be concerned about generating returns proportionate to my investment, right?
Exactly. And if you plan on having shareholders, these are the financial statements that they will depend on.
अरे यार हिसाब किताब ही तो मेरी weakness है. How do I go about it?
For that, my friend, you will have to wait for the next video. And you, share this video with someone who has the passion to pursue something that they want. And subscribe to upGrad.